All right, so property is registered in two names. When they sell the bonds, the bonds get paid and money are divided in half. What happens when one person passes away before the sale is completed, still waiting for bond approval? And what happens if it happens after the sale, but before the property is registered in the purchaser's name?
Who
yeah,
is
so
passing
how
away?
I would no,
Because if the seller,
I think the seller is passing away, so they own the property, they're selling.
yes,
The purchaser is applying for a bond. What happens when one of them, the sellers, pass away before
I see, bond approval and
before
after
bond approval and after bond approval?
Yeah. Okay, cool. I've got it, Natasha. Luckily, the bond approval in this context isn't going to change my answer. For the simple reason, the only difference here on bond approval or not would be obviously if it's a suspensive condition. If the suspensive condition is not fulfilled, so the bond is not approved, and accordingly, the suspensive condition kicks in, and it's like there was never a contract. It's pretty much nothing, because the property will still vest in the deceased estate. So remember, you have an undivided share in a property. So the deceased, if he then passes away prior to fulfillment of the suspensive conditions, so prior to bond approval, it would just be as if people are joint owners and one of them passed away and they're not planning to sell. So that's what that effect would be. They're not going to sell. So then how we deal with the money is going to be irrelevant at that stage. But either way, if the property gets sold and one of the owners are deceased, whether prior to conclusion of the contract or thereafter, if he passed away prior to contract fulfillment of suspensive conditions, prior to conclusion of the contract, this contract would not be done by the deceased, because the deceased would be deceased, and it would have to be done by the executor of the deceased's estate, unless this property was owned not by natural persons but by juristic entities, and one of the two owners of the property or shareholders or whatever has got resolution from the other party to act on his behalf, even if he passed away. In a case like that, it's fine, and you can conclude an agreement. What happens to the money is, once again, whether the seller passes away prior to or during the transfer process, the proceeds must be paid out to the deceased estate. So obviously, once again, the executor would be appointed and would be paid over to the executor. If an executor is not appointed by the time that registration is finalized, most likely the conveyancer will keep the proceeds due to the deceased in their trust account until such a point that they receive letters of authority from the master's office approving this executor, showing that an account was in fact opened for this particular estate, and then the proceeds will be paid over to the executor to be handled in the finalization of the estate.